For the first question, he asked me about that. The diagram shows side of parallelogram, right? Find the coordinate of the D. Of course, if we need to find the coordinate of the D, we're looking at the parallelogram. Parallelogram has to be at the same distance with B and C, since they are parallelogram, right? So we can note that B to C is the same distance A to D, right? Whatever D wears it. So we can look at the B. B it goes to C by going to right 4 steps, going up 2 steps. So 4 right, 2 up. It will be 4 right here, as we can note, and 2 up it will be there. So the step it will be, this is for D, -3 and 7. You understand this part? Now for the next one. This Gita had a box of toy. She picked a toy at random from the box. The probability that she pick a wooden toy is 0.6. Work out the probability that she does not pick a wooden toy. Does not, it's mean 1 minus the event. So it has to be 1 minus 0.6, which is 0.4. Okay. Now for letter B, the box contain 3 types of toys, wooden, plastic, or metal. The number of toys, as we can note that it's depend on the probabilities, but I have no idea what the total, but I can note that the metal and the plastic have the same numbers, so of course they have the same probability. How I can know that they have the same probability? So the post probabilities is will be 0.4, so each it will be 0.2. How I can know that if this is represented 0.2, it will be equal 14. How 0.6 will be equal? So I will multiply by using cross multiplication. It will be 0.6 multiplied by 14 divided by 0.2. So for this equation, it will be like 42, of course, right? Do you understand this part? I hope so. For this part, he asked me that I have 2 different sequences, and this is the nth term for this sequence, this is the nth term for the second. Now he asked me to complete the table, of course, as long as he asked me for the 5th term, so he needs just to substitute the value of n by 5, so it will be 60 minus 4 multiplied by 5, which is 60 minus 20, which is will be 40, of course, this is will be 40. Now here, instead of n, I will 5, so it will be 5 power 2 minus 300. So 5 power 2, 25 minus 300, it will be 25 minus 300, which is equal -275. Do you understand this? Now he said that find the smallest positive number in the sequence B. How I can know that the smallest positive number for the sequence? Of course, to figure out the smallest positive numbers for the sequence B, it has to be, I have to think about the numbers here, which I put here. So the smallest positive numbers, how I can figure out in this? Do you have any idea for this part? Okay, it looks like you freeze or something. I will try by using, of course, the calculator, trying many numbers. And of course, as long as I getting bigger in substitutions in n, so the number would be positive. But I'm looking for the smallest positive. So, as example, if I'm looking for 20, okay, 20 power of 2, it would be what? 400, perfect. 400 minus 300, which is equal 100. So 200 is too big. 200 is too big because I have 100 as the answer. Let's try smaller than these numbers. Let's try smaller than. So I need numbers that's it's square. It's close to 300. Okay, number which is square is close to 300. How I can also that number is square close to 300. So by using our calculator here, I will try of using like 15, of course, 15 power of 2, it will be 225, this is far away. Now let's try 16 power of 2, which is equal to 156 minus 300, will still as a negative. So let's try 18 power of 2, 18 power of 2 equals 324. I think this is the first number which is greater than 300 square. So I'm looking at 18 power of 2, which is equal to 324 minus 300 will equal 24. Because if I try 17 power of 2, it will not equal 300 or bigger. It will be smaller than, so the answers will be negative. So for this answer, it will be 24. Now for question number 4, find the what? Try and enter, yes. But in case of we are in paper 2, you have to memorize all the numbers for squares from 1 till 20. It would be good for you, of course. And you know that 16 power of 2 equal what? 17 power of 2 equal what? Till 20 power of 2, which is equal 400. And you will figure out that 18 power of 2 equals 324, which is the first number square greater than 300. So this is would be the smallest positive value, because you cannot, of course, try 19, because 19 would be far away from 300, so the answer would be, not the smallest positive numbers. Do you understand this? Now for number 4, he asked me that find the greatest odd number that is factor of 140 and factor of 210. So he asked me greatest odd number that is factor. So he looking for factors, by the way. Okay. I have two options here. I can try or write down all the factors for 140, which is would be like a great effort you will do for pose, or you can factorize as prime and figure out the HCF. And after you figure out the HCF, you have to choose two numbers or whatever, two numbers or more than two numbers if they are more than three numbers as a common factor, which is their product is a odd. Okay, so I will take 140 here. 140, it's like 10 multiplied by 14, 2 multiplied by 7. Okay, here 2 multiplied by 5, so it would be 2 power of 2, 5, 7. Now 210, it would be like 10 multiplied by 21, 3 multiplied by 7, 2 multiplied by 5. Now we can note that I have many common. It will be like 2, this is repeated here and there. It will be like 5, this is repeated here and there. 7, repeated there and there. So I have a common only 2 times 5 times 7. Of course, if I look at these numbers and I multiply them together, it would be equal 70. 70 not odd, right? So I will try by using 7 and 5, which is 35. It will be odd, perfect. 7 and 2, it will be 14. This is even. This is odd. 5 and 2, it will be 10. This is even. So we can note that 35 is the greatest odd factors for both numbers. So 35 is the answer. You understand this part, Mustafa? Okay. It's like this exam. It's consists of a lot of questions, which is mental mathematics, not related to our curriculums, but it's okay. That's okay. Now for this part, 343. We have to know what's the cube root of 343 for this part, and so for these numbers. Of course, for this part we have to use the calculator. So I will figure the answer because it consists of one answers. If I use the calculator correctly and make sure that you put cube root and here square root only, you will figure out that 5a would equal 0.6, or you can put it as in fraction 3 over 5. But using this, of course, you can try by multiplying the numbers first, then adding, and after that put to the power 1.25. And putting the power 1.25, it's like 125 over 100, or it will be like 5 over 4. Of course, 5 over 4, it's like the power 5 fourth root. Okay, after that, you can do the calculator, it will be 1224. Now here for question 6, the diagram shows 5 kites that are congruent to kite A, B, C, D. So it's like this 5 kites congruent. What the meaning of congruent? It's mean corresponding sides and angles are equal. Do you understand this part? Sides and angles are equal. He said that each kite is joined to the next kite along one edge. The angle this, which is DAB, is 40, and the DCE is a straight line. DCE is a straight line. Of course, this is notes. It's too important because this means that all the angles would equal all the angle on this on a straight line equal 180. So it's mean all this angle 180, of course. And as long as all this angle 180 and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kites are congruent, so it will be 180 divided by 6, so each angle would equal 30. Do you understand what this means? So this angle 30, this is angle 30, 30, 30, 30, 30. Okay, now he asked me find the value of x. Of course, how I can find the value of x? As long as this is value of x, so this is 40, this is 40, this is 40, 40, and this is 40. Now I have 40, 30. How I can find the angle of x? How I can know the measure of this angle? This would be too important for me. How I can know this thing? Do you have any idea for this part? Since the five kites that are congruent to the kite, the first one, and they join together along one edge, and this angle is 40. How I can know? Okay, it's all depend on the property of the kite. Do you remember what is the property of the kite? Okay, property of kite that it has one line of symmetry, only one line of symmetry. What the meaning of one line of symmetry? It's mean that if I divided the kite by this condition, it will be this angle equal this angle. This both angles are equal, two equal angles. And he said that this angles down it will be like 40, this angle down it will be like 30. Says two equal angles, of course, because it has one line of symmetry. So he said that this is 40, this is 30, so it would be 70, right? 70 minus 360, because this kite is quadrilateral, it will be like 290, right? 290, do you understand this? Okay, so of course, very good. So as long as 100, 290 I will divide it by 2, it will be 145. Do you understand this part? Is there anything hard about this? Of course not. Now for question number 7, he asked me that the diagram shows shape made from triangle JKL and semicircle with the diameter JL. JKL is an isosceles right angle triangle. This is isosceles right angle triangle, and this is too important, by the way, as long as this is 90 and this is isosceles, so this is angle is 45, this is angle is 45. And you have to learn this step. Every given he is notes or just notes it in the questions, you have to write it down on the drawing. Now he said that JKL is an isosceles triangle with JKJL equal 12.8. Now, and he said that this semicircle was the diameter JL. This is semicircle. This is all the diameter. So this is mean the radius for this one. It will be 6.4. By the way, he asked me to calculate the area of the shape. So area of the shape is consists of two parts. The first part it's like area of the triangle, right? And area of semicircle. Semicircle. Of course, to figure out the area of the triangle, we know that it's like half base times perpendicular height. As long as base and the perpendicular height are the same, so it would be like half multiply 12.8 multiply 12.8. Now area of the semicircle, it would be pi r squared divided by 2. And we know that this is pi, this is divided by 2, and this the radius would be 6.4 all to power 2, right? Now I have to add these two numbers together. What's equal here, what is equal there, and add them together, and I will figure out it's equal like 146.2 numbers, which is approximated as 146 only. Okay. Now he asked me to calculate the parameters. How I can calculate the parameter here? Calculating the parameters or the parameter for any shape, it's mean the length of outer side. Length of the outer side. So I need this side. I need this side. I need all this side. Okay. Of course, this all length it's represented by the circumference of semicircle, right? Circumference of the circle. Or as we can see, parameter of semicircle. Why the parameter of semicircle? Because we're talking about half of semicircle. Okay. So here this two side. The first thing I need to figure out what KL equal, and KL for this part, this is KL. Of course, this is 12.8. Perfect. 12.8, so KL would equal like root of 12.8 power of 2 plus 12.8 power of 2. We can try by using our calculator, it would be like, let's write on it, it will be 12.8, which is power of 2, plus 12.8, which is power of 2 also, which is equal 64 root 2 over 5. So 64 root 2 over 5. Why I write down all these numbers, not the decimal number? Because as long as the number in thirds or the number in fraction, masters, it keep its value without shrinking the value. Okay, so now I know the KL. Let's calculate the length of the circumference. So semicircle, we know that it's equal d pi. Okay, and since it's a semicircle, d pi divided by 2, and you know that d is 12.8 multiplied by pi divided by 2. So let's try by using our calculator also. Of course, 12.8, which is equal 6.4 multiplied by pi. Okay, and after that I can calculate the parameter. So it would be the parameter. Instead of calculating this, I have to add this together. So it will be 6.4 pi plus 64 root 2 divided by 5. This would be the perfect answer if I wrote it down correctly, and he didn't mention anything for the closest numbers or approximations. So I have to write down the final values here. So it will be shift. This is all at a fraction. 65 root 2, 64, sorry, this is 64 root 2 root 2, which is all divided by 5. The final answer equals 38.208. So it will be 38.208, which is equal as approximated 38.2. Okay, of course this is 64, sorry. Do you understand this part? Of course, for the triangle, I cannot add the three sides because he asked me the parameter of the shape. And I told you here what the meaning of parameter, the length of the outer side. So this side JL not considered as the outer side. I just need to calculate the length of this outer line, these two sides and the semicircle. JK, KL, and the curve or arc JL only. Okay, let's go to question number 8. These are the first 5 terms of the sequence. So find an expression for the nth term. As we know before, as long as I'm adding the same numbers each time, so this is 7, 7, 7, keep 7, so it will be 7n. And as long as the first term is not 7, so I have to think about which number I have to add to 7, which is equal 11, which will be 4. So 7n plus 4. And to check if my answer is correct or not, I have to substitute the value of n by any value. As example, we're looking at the third term, so I will put 3 instead of n. 3 times 7, 21, plus 4 equal 25. So my nth term is correct. Now let's go to the question number 9. He said that the value of car is $8,000. Each year the value of the car decreases exponentially by 25%. Of course, as he talking about exponentially, so we talking about what? We talking about compound interest. You have to remember this. So compound interest. What the meaning of compound interest here? It's mean like p multiplied by 1, and this is decreased, it will be 1 minus r% all to power t. Now he said that calculate the value of this car after 3 years. So in this condition, I will put 8,000 instead of p. Of course, this is all multiplied by 1 minus the percentage, which is equal 25% all to power 3. Put this all on your calculator. You will figure out that the final answers would be by these numbers. So the final answer would be 3375. Now I'm invest 1,500 in an account. The account pay compound interest at rate of R% per year. At the end of 8 years, the value of X investment becomes this. Now I need the R. For this compound, I will apply the same rules that I mentioned before. Of course, you can find all of this in the formula sheet. So it will be like b multiplied by 1 plus r% all to power t. And you have to remember that as long as it's increased each year, so it will be plus. But in the previous example, it's decreased each year, so it will be minus. This is the big difference between both. So for this example, he said that this is all equal what? This is all here equal, as he said, equal these numbers, which is 16.56.73. and you have to think about something that's important, of course. So this is the total. You need to find out what the value of r. So you can think that I need to make r as subject. This is too important before you trying to figure out anything. So instead of this number, of course, I can write that the CS or C, which is component rest. Now, we need to isolate R. Let's isolate R. How I can isolate R? What the first step I have to do to isolate R? The first step I have to send P to the other side by divided, of course. So it will be C divided by P, of course, right? And after I send P divided, I will put the inverse operation of T, which is would be like root T, right? You understand this part? Of course, after I put the root of t for this value, I will subtract it by 1. This is all subtracted by 1. And of course, this is r divided by 100. So it will be all multiplied by 100. Do you understand what's happening? This is all will leads us to the value of r. That's all. So what I have to do in this condition, I have just to substitute all these values. So it will be like root, after 8 years, it will be the 8th root for the value of c, which is will be like 1656.73. This is all divided by the principal, which is 1500. This is all, as you can see, minus 1. And this is all have to multiply by 100. Now I have to use the calculator and find out the final value, which will be like 1.25. I think this is easier for you instead of substituting the value of numbers and trying to isolate the r and confusing between the powers and the root, right? Make our subject first from the main rule and after that just substitute. You understand this part? It will be easier for you to understand it. Okay, okay. Have you copy already? Number 11, he said that find the inequalities that define the shaded regions. Of course, the shaded regions, this is too important. As we can note that I have how many lines? I have 4 lines. I have 4 lines here, right? So this is the first line, this is the second line, this is the third line, this is the fourth line, because this is represented the shaded, right? So for these values here, we can note that this is the first line. The first line, it's as we can note, it's the point. It's like 1 1. Perfect. Y equal x, and of course y equal x. And I shaded all the part above the line. He said that the unshaded. So I need the area which is less. So I need y smaller than x because he asked me for unshaded. So I ask him for y smaller than x. Do you understand this part? Okay, now for this line, okay, y equal x, it's equation, it's a line, but y smaller than x, it's defined the exact value for this. Because if he choose y equal x, it will be only line, y equal x. This is y equal x. This is x. This is y. This is y equal x. I cannot shade this part or this part. But as long as I shaded the part which is smaller than the line, so it means small all the part which is smaller than y it's smaller than x. In any point here in this shaded area, it's all the part where the x is greater than y, so it will be y smaller than x. But if I shaded the part above, it will be y greater than x. You understand this part? Okay, now for this line, which is x equals 6, I shaded the left line. So there's where x is smaller than 6 or x greater than 6. Smaller. So the next one, it will be x is smaller than 6. Now for this part, this line represented by y, 5. This is line y equal 1. But I shaded the part which is greater than 1, so it would be like y greater than 1, of course, or equal. Why I put equal here? Because as we can note here, the line is solid, but here I didn't put any equal because it's a what? This is perfect dashed line. Now here, this is line y, but I unshaded the line which is below y equal 5, so it would be y smaller than or equal 5. So as I told you, it's 4 lines, but I can identify the 2 lines here because they belong to y only, so it would be like y greater than 1 or equal smaller than 5. Okay? Okay. Now he asked me to solve simultaneous equation. You must show all your work. So for this part, of course, how I can represent this element, we have many options in this example, but the important one to applying these options, it will be easier, of course, that I have to look at the y. Why look at the y? Because they have different sign. This is the important thing. So here multiply by 3, here multiply by 5. So for this part it will be 9 over 2x plus 15y equal 15. Here multiply by 5 it will be like 20x minus 5 times 3, which is equal 15y times 5, it will be equal to 130. Okay, after that I will add the poles together. This would be like 4.5, so it would be 24.5x, which is equal, if I add this together, it would be equal to 145. Now x would be equal to 145 divided by 24.5. If I divided these two numbers together, it will be equal what? It will equal 10, of course. So with the value of x equal 10, if I were you, I would apply 10 by any numbers of this. Let's try at the first equation. It will be 3 multiplied by 10 divided by 2 plus 5y equal 5. So 30 divided by 2 equal 15 plus 5y equal 5. So 5y equal negative 10. So y equal negative 2. So now I apply these two values, x to 10, negative 2. Okay. The same, of course it has to be the same. And there's another thing you have to make sure by using calculator mode equation, of course, mode 3 1 or mode 3 3, whatever you have the degree of equation or according to your type of calculator. Okay, now for question number 15, as you can also that the diagram shows cyclic quad. What the important thing about the cyclic quad? Perfect, opposite side at 180. So opposite sorry opposite angles at 180 degree. Okay, and the summation of angles, of course, is 360. So let's try by the first. It will be 4m plus 5m equal 180. So 9m equal 180. So m equal 20. So this is for this one, right? So since m equal 20, this is mean 4m plus 38 plus p equal 180. And instead of m, I will put 20. It will be 80 plus 38 plus p equal 180. Of course, 80 plus 38 would be like 118. P equal 180 minus 118. It would equal 62. So the value of p is 62. You understand it? Perfect. Now for question number 4, he told me that the diagram shows circle with radius 9 centimeter. This is the radius 9 centimeter. Calculate the area of the shaded major sector. So the shaded major sector, of course, so he need the area of this big part. How I can know the area of the big part? Of course, it depends on the angles, right? How I can know for this part? I know that the area of the shaded sector over the area of the sector, it's mean what? Theta over 360 multiplied by r squared, right? Is there anything hard? This is angle 48. Of course, the reverse angle, it would be like 360 minus 48. It would equal by this angles, whatever. 30 minus 48, it will be 312. So it will be 312 divided by 360. Do you understand the part? Multiplied by r, it would be 9 power 2. Okay? Again, I'm looking to figure out the area of the shaded sector. So the rule for the area of sector, it would be theta divided 360 multiply the area of the whole circle, right? Theta here for the shaded part, it would be the reverse angle for 48. because this is for unshaded. So which completes 360, it will be 360 minus 48 equals 312. So the angle, this big angle, it will be 312. So this is the value of theta. Theta equal 312. So it will be 312 divided by 360. This is all multiplied by pi r square, and r here is 9, so it will be pi 9 square, which is equal 220.5, or we can name it as 221. Now here, question number 15, he told me that write 0.146 as a fraction in its simplest form. Of course, I will assume that x equal 0.146. Of course, this is recurring, so I will multiply first by 1000. So it will be 1000 x equal 146.46 only, because 46 it's the only numbers which is repeated. Now then I will multiply by 10x, which is equal 1.46, which is repeated also. Now if I subtract the poles together, it will be 1000 minus 10 equal 990, right? 990x, which is equal 145. So x would equal 145 divided by 990. And he said that in simplest form, of course, in these situations, I can use it will be used by a calculator, which is equal 29 divided by 190 by using simplest form. Okay, you understand it? And make sure that you put it in simplest form, because in case of you didn't put it in simplest form, you will gain like 2 marks only. Now for question number 16, he said that in the Venn diagram shade region M dash intersect N dash. So of course it could be M dash, it's mean anything but M. So let's unshade anything but M. It would be like this whole part, anything but M. Now N dash, anything but N. So anything but N, it will be this part. As we can see that the only intersected part, it would be this part, this the post arc in it. But if you cannot recognize it, so it will be, I will do it again. So you can notice by using lines. So M dash first, it will be all this line. That's I put it here. This is all M dash. Let's think about N dash. N dash, anything for this line. Anything but this line, so it will be N dash, anything but N. This all lines. Of course, this all line. Now he asked me where the area where the post line intersect. Of course, it would be all the area except M and N, right? All the area except M and N. So in this condition, I can only shaded all the area except M and N would be by using, of course, all of this. So after we know, we can redraw it carefully here. So it will be all this area except M and N. Do you understand this part? Now here he asked me that find the number of elements by B intersect A dash union C. Let's start by the bracket of the bracket first. So A dash all union C. So I need all of on A, which is this, union C, which is this and this, right? Which of this number intersect with B? Which of this number intersect with B? What? let's think. This is the first number intersect with B. This is the second number intersect with B. This is the third number intersect with B. So I have three numbers, which is 10, 4, 3. So 10 plus 4 plus 3, which is equal 17. You understand it? So it will be 17. Be careful of this one. Now for the next one, he asked me that calculate the area of the triangle. How I can calculate the area of triangle? I have a rule in formula sheet, which is half AB sine C. So it would be like half 6.7, 5.9, and sine 81. Of course, I have to use the calculator for this example, and it will be equal by 19.52. Okay. Now let's think about number 18. In number 18, he just told me that the diagram showed the graph of y equal x power of 3 plus 4x power of 2 minus 2 for all this interval by drawing suitable straight line. Solve the equation. Okay, so he asked me to solve the equation for this interval. How to solve the equation? Of course, this is the line, this is the curve which is drawn up, and he asked me only to draw the equation 2x. What the equation 2x? This is equation, it's mean y equal to x. So to draw this line, it will be like this. I will make a table, 1 for x, 1 for y, and 0, 1, and 2. If x is 0, y is 0. If x 1, 2. If x 2, it's 4. So now 0, 0, 1, 2. Okay, let's try by negative 1. It will be negative 2. So for these examples, if I match this point together, it will be like this form, of course. So it will be like this form together. Okay. So as we can notice that he asked me that for number 18, I need all the numbers which intersected together. So I need this and this. What this value in x, of course, this value in x, it equal what? Equal, as you can notice, negative 0.5. What this value in x equal? Of course, it would be directly, which is smaller than, it will be like 0.9. So negative 0.5, 0.9. That's all. Now for question number 19, factorize completely. If he asked me to factorize completely, we will factorize all of 12 and m power 2. Of course, 12, it's considered as 3 times double of 2. So 12 m power of 2, it will be like this. This is 12. Let's try by factorize. It will be like 3, 2, 2, and also m and m. For this, it will be 3, 5, and 5, and double t. So we can notice that how many common, it would be like 3. Now I have to put all the inside, it will be 4m power of 2. Okay, this is all minus 25t power of 2. But this is not completely. Why it's here? Because this is different of 2 square, right? Different of 2 squares, so it's mean like I have to open 2 brackets. Now the root for the first, the root for the second, put negative sign, the same root for the first, root for the second, put inverse sign. So this is the full factorized form. Do you know what this means? This is just follow the rule. When I have a power of 2 minus b power of 2, it would be like a minus b multiply a plus b. This is the rule. Yes, it's not complete square, it's called different between 2 squares. Now for here, he said that factorize, how I can factorize for this example. So I will look at the similar numbers. So I will take x's together. So it will be xy plus 5x together plus 15 plus 3y together. I will take x common factor, it will remain y plus 5. I will take 3 common factor, it will be y plus 5. I will take y plus 5 as a common factor, it will be x plus 3. That's all. Solve the equation, of course, by this value. So he asked me that how I can solve the equation for this value. It will be 8 sine x equal 1 minus 6. So 8 sine x equal negative 5. So sine x equal negative 5 over 8. Now I have to look at something important. When sine it's negative according to asterisk rule, so I can notice that sine is negative and this is sine, this is all, it will be negative in third and the fourth. So what the value of the angle at the beginning, of course, for this value. So I will notice that the value of x, it would be like sine inverse 5 over 8. What the value of sine inverse 5 over 8? Let's calculate it. So it will be sine shift sine 5 over 8, 5 over 8. It would be equal 38.7 as example. 38.7. This is the value of the main x, but I'm looking at the third and the fourth. Of course, for the third, it will be plus 180. Perfect. So it will be 38.7 plus 180. It would be like 218.7, or it will be 360 minus 38. So 360. This is for the third. This is would be the fourth. Would be 360 minus 38.7, which is equal 321.3. So this is the two values he asked me to find out. So this is the first one, this is the second one. I don't know what's wrong with my color pen, but cool. Okay. It's like someone telling him to do this for me. So now look here, calculate the angle between CE and, so he asked me CE and CDHG. So he need to figure out this angle. How I can know the measure of this angle, of course. So the first thing I need to know the measure of angle, the side HSE, and that will be the total, of course. So the first thing, if I know the measure of the side HSE, how I can know? Of course, this is 9.1. This is would be 9.1, right? So let's find HSE from the Pythagoras theorem. As long as we talk about this is a rectangle, so all the angles are a right angle. Of course, HSE as a hypotenuse, it will be 4 power of 2 plus 9.1 power of 2, right? Now I need the measure of angle. If I have HSE and I have, it would be like this triangle, this amazing, awesome triangle. This is right angle, of course. This is 6.5, and this is would be like 4 power of 2 plus 9.1 power of 2, and I need this angle. So I have opposite, have adjacent, so I can try by using tan inverse. You understand what's happening here, right? So it would be like tan inverse, it will be like 6.5 divided by which root 4 power 2 plus 9.1 power 2. Why I didn't put the answers as I told you before to save the value of the numbers instead of making it shrink or whatever. So shift 10 put a bracket 6.5 down, put the root, it will be 16 plus 9.1 power of 2. Now go one right, close it, and the final answer will be like 33.18. 33.18, or you can write 33.2. Now for question 22. Bag A, Bag B each contain red counters and blue counters only. Stephen pick a counters at random from Bag A and Jane pick a counter at random from Bag B. Probability Stephen pick a red counters is 0.4. Probability that Stephen and Jane both pick a red counters is 0.25. Find probability that Stephen and Jane both pick blue counters. So how can I note this one? Could you understand it? Okay, we can assume that I have A and I have B, right? A, it's like have what and what? It have red, right? Red and blue, right? Probability for red, it would be like what? He said that Stephen gets red counters, it will be 0.4. Of course, it would be blue counter 0.6. Now for bag B, it would be also red and blue. But for red, he said that probability that Stephen and Jane so get this is for Stephen for the probability. Of course, this is Stephen, and he said that Stephen big counter random from bag A and Jane for bag B. He said that I don't know have anything about Jane for this. This is for Stephen, of course. Okay, but he said that probability that Stephen and Jane both big red. So red and red. This is I don't know what it's equal, but he said that the both are equal what 0.25. So for this equation, it will be 0.4x equals 0.25. So it will be x equals 0.25 divided by 0.4. You understand what's happening here, right? So 0.25 divided by 0.4, it would be this calculations, which is equal. You understand which is equal what? 0.25 divided by 0.4, which is equal 5 over 8. Okay? So this is would be 5 over 8. Of course, this is would be 3 over 8. This would be 5 over 8. This is would be 3 over 8. Red and blue. Now let's think about what he asked me to do. Find probability that Stephen and Jane both pick blue, blue and blue. So it will be what? Yes. So both pick blue. So 0.6 times 3 over 8, which is equal what? 18 over 8. So let's try what it's equal in numbers. 0.6 multiply 3 over 8. 3 over 8. It will be equal. This is multiply, not plus. I mean plus. Sorry. Multiply will equal 9 over 40, which is equal 0.200. So 9 over 40 or 0.225. Do you understand this? So I multiply only this to put together. So this is mean blue, blue. You understand it? Now we finish all this amazing exam, which is 2024, Mr. For May, June, variant 21.